Today's lesson is Celebrations of Love. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our program. I'm Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And as you know, the Chinese Valentine's Day is coming up here pretty soon. So we're going to talk about celebrations of love. We're not just going to talk about Qixi, but we're also going to talk about Valentine's Day, which takes place back in February. And so those are examples of celebrations of love.
Yes, a celebration refers to the act of celebrating. And when you celebrate an event, you do something special or something fun to show that the event is special. So while most people celebrate birthdays or weddings or graduations, these celebrations involve cakes and candles, balloons and gifts. You also have celebrations of love. And here we're talking more about a holiday rather than a celebration as in a party.
Indeed. So, yeah, it's coming up here pretty quickly. So, boys and girls, you got some time to prepare a gift for your sweetheart. So let's talk about some celebrations of love. Let's begin by looking at the first paragraph.
Celebrations of love. Love makes the world go around, so it stands to reason that holidays celebrating love abound. Valentine's Day is celebrated in the West, while in the East, the Qixi festival, originating in China, is widely observed. Although the two grew out of separate traditions, they have something in common, honoring the union forged by love.
大家好，这一部分我们看到片语 It stands to reason 加上 that 子句，表示点点点是理所当然的或是合理的。例如 It stands to reason that if we save a little bit of money each week, by the end of the year, we will be able to afford a new computer. 如果我们每星期都存一点钱，理所当然到了年底我们就有钱可以买一台新电脑。或是 If you don't perform well, it stands to reason that the company won't give you a raise. 如果你表现不佳，公司不给你加薪是显而易见的。再来我们看到动词 abound 指大量存在或是非常多。例如 We live in a city where culture and art abound. 我们生活在一个富有艺术和文化的城市。或是Rumors abound about the breakup of Chucky and Tiffany's marriage. 关于 Chucky 和 Tiffany 婚姻破裂的传言满天飞。另外，补充一个相关片语 abound with 或是 in 表示充满。举例来说 Garage sales abound with old records and children's toys. 车库拍卖尽是旧唱片和孩童玩具。或是 Mosquitoes abound in the summers, especially after a heavy rain. 夏天蚊子很多，特别是大雨过后。接着我们看到单字 originate， 这个字是动词，指发源于或是来自，像是 Researchers are trying to find out where the virus originated from. 研究人员正试图找出这个病毒是源自哪里。或是 The storm originated in the northern Atlantic. 这个暴风来自北大西洋。再来我们看到名词 forge， 指缔造、建立或是创造。举例来说Tammy quickly forged new friendships when she started college. Tammy 展开大学生活时，很快就建立起新友谊了。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以是伪造。举例来说 The painter forged a Picasso and tried to sell it. 该画家伪造毕卡索的画作，还打算拿去卖钱。
And welcome back. So we're talking about celebrations of love. And the first paragraph says, Love makes the world go round, so it stands to reason that holidays celebrating love abound. So in English, we have a saying, love makes the world go round, which means that love is the force or the emotion that makes people do certain things, act in a certain way that makes life better, that makes the world continue in the way it is. Now, some people say money makes the world go round, which means money is the most important thing in the world. Others disagree. They say, no, it's not money. It's actually love that makes the world go round.
Yeah, I would choose love because, we don't get born unless there's love out there, unless boys and girls are getting together to make babies, then the human race would disappear. So, yeah, love does make the world go round. So it stands to reason, it's logical that holidays celebrating love abound. So stand to reason here just means it's logical. Therefore, because love makes the world go around, therefore we have lots of love celebrations. And that's why we say that holidays celebrating love abound. Now, abound here is kind of an interesting word. It just means they are common. This is a word that does not have the be verb, so it's by itself here. Love or holidays abound. They're just all over the place.
Yes, so in other words, there are many celebrations of love. It's not just Valentine's Day and Qixi, which we will look at in this lesson, but there are many celebrations of love around the world. These celebrations abound. So Valentine's Day is celebrated in the West, while in the East, the Qixi festival, originating in China, is widely observed.
Okay, so right, that's one of the reasons why we have Valentine's Day, because of love. And also in the East, we have the Qixi festival, which again originated in China. Now, the verb to originate just means that's where it came from. Lots of things originated in China. For example, the compass originated in China. The printing press, paper, lots of inventions originated in China. And the Qixi festival also came from China.
And although the two grew out of separate traditions, so one grew out of a Western tradition and the other grew out of the Chinese tradition, they have something in common, honoring the union forged by love. So to have something in common means to share similar qualities. And in this particular case, the quality that they share in common, that they have in common, is to honor the union forged by love.
Now, here we've got the phrase to have something in common. We often use that to talk about relationships between friends, yes, but also between lovers. Hey, John, why did you break up with Mary? Well, we didn't have anything in common. We didn't have any common interests. We didn't really have anything to talk about. So, yeah, if you're looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's important to have things in common, to have common interests.
Yes, so these two holidays have something in common. They have something that they share, which is honoring the union forged by love. So union is when two people or groups of people come together, and this coming together is forged by love. To forge is to develop a successful relationship, and the power or the thing that allows this relationship to come together, to be developed, is love. Love is what brings people together, makes people do nice things for each other.
And love, of course, makes the world go around as we began this paragraph. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first paragraph. Let's move on now to the next paragraph and talk about Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day, lovers typically give chocolates, flowers, or cards to each other. But the holiday's origin isn't so much romantic as religious in nature. As one story goes, in ancient Rome, an imprisoned Christian named Valentinus was awaiting execution. While in jail, Valentinus restored the sight of a blind woman and wrote her a message signed, "From your Valentine." After Valentinus was executed, the Catholic Church made him a saint and designated February 14th as St. Valentine's Day.
第二部分我们看到单字 imprison， 这个字是动词，指关押或是监禁，像是 Authorities imprisoned the drug dealer for 15 years。 主管机关让那名毒贩坐牢15年。接着我们看到动词 designate， 指指定或是把点点点定名为，像是 The government designated the battlefield as a historic landmark。 该政府将战争地点定名为历史地标。
So first we're going to talk about Valentine's Day. Now, what do people do on Valentine's Day? Lovers typically give chocolates, flowers, or cards to each other. But the holiday's origin isn't so much romantic as religious in nature. So even though today we consider Valentine's Day to be a romantic holiday, a holiday for lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, and wives, it didn't start out that way. The holiday's origin isn't so much romantic as religious. So here, the phrase isn't so much one thing as another simply means it's less one thing than another. So the holiday's origin is less romantic than religious, or it isn't so much romantic as religious. In other words, it was religious when it began, and then gradually it became a romantic holiday.
Right, so basically this is saying that the original purpose of Valentine's Day was more religious and not so much romantic. Religious, of course, has to do with religion, whether you believe in God or not, do you believe in a savior or whatever. And in nature, here is a phrase that just describes the general characteristics of something. You might describe someone's personality. Hey, I like Sammy because he's gentle in nature. He has a gentle personality.
Yes, so about Valentine's Day, as one story goes, in ancient Rome, an imprisoned Christian named Valentinus was awaiting execution.
Okay, so this person in ancient Rome, which of course is in Italy, he was imprisoned and he was going to be executed. So execution is the act of killing someone for a crime they have committed. There are various forms of execution. In the United States, it's mostly by chemical injection, but you could be guillotined, you could be executed in front of a firing squad, you could be hanged. There are various ways to execute someone. So he was awaiting execution. He was going to be executed. He maybe was going to have his head chopped off.
Yes, and while he was waiting to be killed, officially killed, to be executed, he was in prison, so he was in jail. And while in jail, Valentinus restored the sight of a blind woman and wrote her a message signed, "From your Valentine." So this blind woman was actually the daughter of the jail keeper, of the person who worked at the jail, and she was blind, and Valentinus, since he evidently had special powers, he restored the sight of a blind woman. He made her be able to see again. When you restore something, you cause something to exist again. So when you restore the sight of someone, you allow the sight of that person to exist again so that they can see.
Right. To restore means to return something to its original condition. Like a friend of mine likes to restore old motorcycles. He buys old motorcycles for a cheap price and then he works on them and makes them as good as new. He restores those motorcycles. And here, Valentinus returned the sight to this blind woman, which was a miracle. So, of course, before he was executed, before he had his head lopped off, he wrote this message to the woman, "This is a gift from your Valentine." And after Valentinus was executed, the Catholic Church made him a saint. If the Catholic Church makes you a saint, that means you have performed a miracle. And then the Catholic Church, centered in the Vatican City in Rome, designated February 14th as St. Valentine's Day. So here we've got the verb to designate. That just means they have assigned this day on the calendar as being a day to celebrate Valentinus.
Yes, and when somebody becomes a saint, that's when the Catholic Church says, okay, now you have the honor of this title. You will officially become a saint. So you have the title of saint before your name. So if you're Valentinus, you're Saint Valentinus or Saint Valentine. You can also be Saint Teresa when Mother Teresa became a saint because she did a lot of great things in her life. She was canonized and she officially became Saint Teresa.
Okay, very good. So that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the third part and continue talking about Valentine's Day.
Although it is popular, Valentine's Day is actually banned in some places. In Russia, one province prohibited Valentine's Day celebrations on the grounds that they violated moral values. Surprisingly, some schools in the United States and the United Kingdom have banned Valentine's Day celebrations too. for either religious or cultural reasons.
最后第三部分，我们看到片语 on the grounds 加上 that 子句，表示因为或是理由是点点点，像是 The government rejected the plan on the grounds that it would cost too much money. 政府不考虑那个计划，因为会花太多钱。另外，片语中的 that 子句也可以换成 of 加上名词，意思相同。举例来说 ，It is illegal to refuse hiring an employee on the grounds of age. 因年龄而拒绝雇佣员工是违法的。
So everybody knows about Valentine's Day, and it seems like it's celebrated everywhere. In Taiwan, even, we have Valentine's Day specials in restaurants, Valentine's Day cards and cakes and pastries and stuff. But even though it's popular, Valentine's Day is actually banned in some places. So there are certain places in the world that make it illegal to celebrate Valentine's Day.
Indeed, in some places it's actually banned, which is quite surprising. They don't allow people to celebrate Valentine's Day. Let's go to Russia, for example. In Russia, one province there prohibited Valentine's Day celebrations on the grounds that they violated moral values. So this is just one province in Russia at one time. I guess like China and like Canada, Russia is divided into provinces, okay? The United States is divided into states, but Russia has provinces here, and one province in Russia prohibited Valentine's Day celebrations. So if you prohibit something, that means you don't allow something to take place. Of course, here in Taiwan, all restaurants prohibit smoking.
Thank goodness that restaurants in Taiwan prohibit smoking, because smoking is very bothersome to have to deal with when you're eating something. But for instance, in Japan, smoking isn't prohibited in restaurants. People can smoke freely in restaurants if they want to. So it's not all of Russia that prohibited Valentine's Day celebrations, only a certain province in Russia that prohibited. And also, we have other places. Surprisingly, some schools in the United States and the United Kingdom have banned Valentine's Day celebrations too, for either religious or cultural reasons. So some schools in these two places, in the US and the UK, have also made the celebration of Valentine's Day not illegal, but maybe they just advised against it. They didn't want these things to take place because they thought that either for religious or cultural reasons, celebrating Valentine's Day wasn't a good idea.
Okay, so they had their reasons for banning Valentine's Day celebrations. So reasons can also be expressed as grounds, or the foundation, or the reason for something. So again, on the grounds, based on the logic or based on the reason that they violate moral values. If you celebrate Valentine's Day in that province, it's considered immoral. You're going against God or something. And if you celebrate Valentine's Day, you might go to hell.
Yeah, or maybe you're not Christian. Maybe you're Muslim, or you believe in another religion that does not recognize Valentine's Day. So maybe some teachers think it's unfair to those students and those educators if Valentine's Day becomes a main celebration.
Right, so on the grounds, you could also say on what grounds. For example, if your boss fires you from your job, you might say, well, on what grounds are you firing me? Why are you firing me? I come to work every day on time. I work very hard. My sales figures are in the top % of the company. Why are you firing me? On what grounds are you firing me? So again, they have banned Valentine's Day on the grounds that they violate moral values. And again, we also brought up the example of some schools in the US and the UK. They might be banned for religious or cultural reasons. When I went to school, of course, we celebrated Valentine's Day. We would send all our classmates Valentines. I think the boys were supposed to send Valentines to the girls and vice versa. It was very equal.
Yes, it's a fun holiday to celebrate, but I do understand maybe in some places people think, well, boys and girls shouldn't really celebrate Valentine's Day because they're too young to be thinking about love and romance and stuff like that. So let's not even deal with it. Let's not even talk about or celebrate Valentine's Day.
Exactly. And, based on what I've learned here, on the grounds of what I've learned here, I no longer want to celebrate Valentine's Day because this is kind of a Catholic holiday. Nothing against Catholics per se, but I am not Catholic, so I don't think I have the right to celebrate Valentine's Day simply because I'm not Catholic. I will not celebrate Valentine's Day out of respect to the Catholic Church.
That's right. And if you want to save some money, you can also avoid celebrating Valentine's Day since these days, celebrating this holiday means taking your beloved out to dinner, buying expensive gifts. So it's become quite a commercial holiday. And it's not departure from its religious roots or its cultural roots. It's also become a very commercial enterprise.
And I think, of course, a lot of guys know that if they don't give their sweetheart some kind of gift or a card or flowers on Valentine's Day, they are going to be in big trouble. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分提到，情人节在一些地方是被禁止的，像俄罗斯有一个省，它基于违反道德价值的理由，禁止情人节的庆祝活动。好，文中它用到 on the grounds that they violated moral values 来表达基于违反道德价值的理由。好，那么 grounds 在这边不是指地上哦，它是指理由根据，常常会用复数形来表达，我们就可以用 on the grounds 加上 that 子句，或者是 on the grounds of 加上名词来表达因为怎么样，理由是什么什么。像 on the grounds of religion 就可以表达基于宗教理由。那我们来造一个例句。The proposal was rejected on the grounds that it would cost too much money. 那个提案被否决的理由是它会花太多钱。好，另外文中用到这个单字 prohibit, P-R-O-H-I-B-I-T 来表达禁止、阻止。我们来学习它的字首字根。好，首先看到字根 H-A-B-I-T 或者是 H-I-B-I-T， 它有这种居住 live 或是保持 keep 或是拥有 have 的意思。很多带有这一类字根的字呢，都有居住的语义哦。像 habitat 就是在 H-A-B-I-T 后面加上 A-T 来表达它是栖息地，动植物居住生长地方。那么在 prohibit 这个字当中，它的字首 P-R-O 表示在什么之前， H-I-B-I-T 它表示保持握住，就是有 hold 的那种意思。我们在前方握住这个禁止标志，不给人家通行，用这样的画面应该可以联想到 prohibit 它有禁止、阻止的意思吧。好，顺便补充几个这类字根的单字。第一个是 exhibit， 它的字首 ex 表示向外，然后字根 hibit 表示拥有。同学们可以试着想，你把你拥有的东西呢向外展示，对外展示，对外界秀出你所拥有的东西，应该可以想到 exhibit 这个动词呢，它就有展现、显示或是陈列的意思。那这个字也可以当名词来表达展览、展示品、陈列品。第二个补充的是 cohabit, C-O-H-A-B-I-T， 它的字首 C-O 是来自 C-O-M 表示一起。那么 C-O-M 只是因为碰到 H 开头或是母音开头的字根呢，它就会拼成了 C-O。那么它的字根 H-A-B-I-T 表示居住。把字首字根合在一起，我们从字面上就有一起居住的意思嘛，所以 cohabit 就表示同居。第三个补充的是 habitual， 好，它的字根 H-A-B-I-T 表示 保持，后面加上这个 UAL 是形容词字尾。好，保持在某种状态，所以我们应该很容易想到说 habitual 可以形容是习惯性的、常态的或是习以为常的。第四个补充的是 inhabit INHABIT， 它的字首 IN 表示在什么之中，然后字根 habit 表示居住。inhabit 这个动词就是表达居住于什么，栖息在什么什么。那在 inhabit 后面加上字尾 ANT 是指执行者嘛？那同学们试着想想看，我们去执行居住的动作是谁呢？执行栖息的这个动作是谁呢？然后 inhabitant 它就表示居民，栖息在某个地方的动物哦。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Celebration. There was much celebration at Gregory's birthday party last night. Forge. We have forged a good relationship based on honesty and trust. Execution. That criminal is currently in prison awaiting execution. Restore. The doctors hope that surgery will restore Hank's hearing. Province. The government built a railway line to connect the two provinces. Prohibit. Smoking is strictly prohibited on school grounds. Violate. Stephanie violated the rules of her contract by working a second job.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.